So we all.
All right, you ready?
Yes, we're ready.
Madam Chair, board members, I want to thank y'all again for giving me an opportunity to be here in Hope County. Our chair and myself both had a conversation with Robbie Ferris today with SFLA and talking about, the needs-based grant. There's money in the budget. We're probably waiting for the 10 days to elapse because I don't think the governor's going to sign that into law. And so it'll just automatically become law after 10 days. And then DPI will be able to release the applications again for the need-based applications. And one of the things that we talked about, because it's twofold here. The first one is that we should apply for either, and I only say this because this is based on conversation with you all, for a new elementary school or a second high school location. I would say that right now we have some elementary schools that are bulging right now. He said more than likely, if we applied to build a brand new school, we probably would not be awarded it this year because we just got one last year, but we get points towards getting a grant for the 24-25 year. Saying that, part two, we can apply for up to $12 million more to add to our current high school project. Because I know some of the things that we talked about with the project, such as bleachers, parking lots, upgrading the remaining building and bringing it up so that the two buildings look like that they're matched, that they were built about the same time. That would give us an opportunity. And Robbie said that he is more than willing to help put that together for us. We want to put it on your radar because we really do want to apply for both. I just kind of need some guidance in terms of that option one. Are we talking about a second high school or are we talking about an elementary school?
Did you just say we were bulging at the elementary school?
Yes.
Yeah, we're at the elementary.
So Madam Chair, we talked about this before, during the meetings we had for the project and all that stuff. Everything that we were gonna have to be pushing forward, and obviously the most logical thing to do is to start planning as soon as possible for the next elementary school, because we will not get approved for a new high school. We gotta fill this one out after it's done. So I think the most logical thing would be to get going on the elementary. That would be my recommendation. And also address the other money. Get that in there too.
I know, I remember Keisha talking about a facelift that time for this, I guess, that side of the school. Yeah.
Yeah, and I will say this, because of the amount of money that the commissioners committed to the project, because for tier one, I think it's like a 1-to-4 match. We did more than that. They pretty much had put in half of what we received in the capital needs fund, and I think that will play well too to justify us getting more money for the high school project, because there's a lot of pride in Hope County High. And I think this is an opportunity for us to be able to expand what we're doing with the new school section, to expand it everywhere over here. And
Madam Chair, if you recall, when we went to South Carolina?
Yeah, South Carolina.
South Carolina, when we went to South Carolina, we talked to Robbie. He did mention that there's a laundry list that you might have, things that were deducted from the project because of money constraints.
mm-hmm.
And he was, remember that? He was talking about that, and he mentioned that I guess you were involved in the list that we had to deduct items to meet the money cap. And so, I mean, we can get it, let's get it. Sooner the better.
So if that $12 million, you were saying that we can use it to do like a facelift, right? But could we add to the new project as well?
Yes, you could, if that's the choice that you make. It's gonna depend on, exactly what you're wanting to do with that, but I know that I think originally in the list that whenever y'all were looking at doing the new building, you were also talking about doing some other things with the existing remaining building and the
Right.
stadium.
That's true.
I think the stadium, y'all are talking about doing a whole new home side that's safer,
Is it a home side?
you know,
Both sides?
so it's not so steep.
Okay.
That's why I stayed on the ground the other Friday night, I'm telling you.
Okay, you tell me that.
And Dr. Shotwell, with that money, if we so happen to receive that 12 million, we can add a new band room so that all that
Yeah,
can
that's
be.
what I was getting at.
All that could be a possibility, yes, ma'am,
Okay,
Okay,
absolutely.
okay.
let's go for it.
You know, because I have seen this with other counties. I know Clay County had applied for money for a new elementary school. And then the next year, they were able to get an additional amount of money to cover the full cost
So
of
that,
the elementary school. So that's kind of what we're doing here.
okay, and also like the agricultural part with the farm animals or.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but you know, we got a really nice barn out there.
Yes.
And we're working on the electricity, getting it
Okay.
run out there and getting the water out there. I just got to figure out where the parking's going before I bring some cows in.
Okay.
But
Dr. Shotwell,
it's nice though.
Oh,
It is
okay.
nice.
if we lost money, we can, lost classes, we can add the classes back? Is that
You
what you're
could,
saying?
that's a
Because
possibility.
we lost the money.
Yeah, we would come back to you with Robbie and Chad and myself, and we would say, okay,
This is what you can do.
this is what you could do for the $12 million. And then you just kind of have to,
How soon are we gonna be able to do this? Cause I mean,
I'm probably going to ask y'all to vote on it at the October meeting so that we can get the application put in, get it. Because, you know, they make it a real quick turnaround.
Yeah, I thought it was a
time.
week that we had to do the application, so it's.
Yeah, it's not a whole lot of time. It's like they release it and they, basically 5 weeks later, they want it back in.
So do we need a motion to decide what school, that's the part one, decide on the school,
Yes.
and then, a motion for the $12 million.
If you want to go ahead and do that, and that way he can go ahead and start working on the application now.
So are y'all in agreement with that?
well, we can make only one motion if we have to.
You can make one motion for both of those
Yes,
things.
Madam Chair, I move that we instruct the administration to move forward with the plan for the elementary school and the $12 million for the high school.
Okay, motion on the floor.
That's okay.
Motion on the floor, I need a second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
All right. Thank y'all very much.
Just one question.
Sure.
Do you know when they're gonna start the project?
No.
Yeah. It's getting closer and closer. Two things that have to happen before we can do really big wholesale site work is that the 62 trees going down South Bethel around that area have got to come down, stumps taken up. We've got 4 quotes, so we're gonna be able to move on that.
Wow.
And then the other piece is, once that's done, Duke Power is moving the lines. And I think we're about 2 weeks away from that happening. So what it's really saying, Chad and I talked about it today, is that, you know, the homecoming planning, looks like y'all gonna have the big field, so that'll be good. You know, so because we won't be at that point where we're moving dirt out of the way on that. And then at some point, we also need to have a groundbreaking ceremony and invite the commissioners and the people in the county to come out. And I need to go buy about, 7, 8 shovels and spray paint them gold.
So they rest for me. Be the tree saves the way.
But yeah, it's getting closer and closer, and I feel better about it too. You know, we had interviews today for the project manager, and we're still working through that. All 3 gentlemen were really nice. I enjoyed the conversation with them, and we're just looking to see how much it's going to cost and what's going to be in the best interest for Hope County schools.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
I have a
Thank you.
question for Dr. Chad.
All right, Dr. Chad, the stage is yours.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, we had have concerns about that septic out there in Rockfish. Whatever happened with that money?
So from my understanding, whenever the money or the project was first talked about, which was, at Rockfish House, septic tank field. But there is a community that's going to be developed across the road from Rockfish Hope Elementary School. The plan was to take the septic and tie it in to these septic lines that came up from, the county into that community. And it would have to go up underneath the road to tie in. And a lift station was supposed to go over there as well for the septic tank, or for the septic to be pumped. At this time, we're still waiting on those lines to be implemented or to be dug and put down, and for that lift station to be put up over there so that we can tie in to the Hope County septic system.
Okay. So, you remember when we had monies for that, did that go back or is it still sitting there? We still have it?
We technically know the school system does not have that money. The county commissioners allocated that money specifically for that project.
Right.
And so because we didn't ever spend that money, it's kind of like they were holding on to it for us.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we're spending about $900 every 3 days,
That's correct.
removing the excess.
Right, having
Yeah,
it,
that's what we heard.
but there is and I forgot the name of the company that I won't say contracting with, but working with, in order to have that pumped out those days. We kind of we monitor the fields and we watch the gauges, and as they're filling up, we call them and they come and pump it out.
Okay. That's a lot. So you said every 3 days?
Yes, ma'am, about every 3 days.
About what? How much is that a month? What,
So
3,000?
well, you figured, let's say on a weekly basis, you're spending at least
About $1,800
at least.
A week?
Well, really about 2,700,
Yeah.
about every 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
So you're really looking at about 5,000 a month.
Wow. Okay.
So, Madam Chair, I'm glad you brought that up. So, I'm gonna make it's kind of like a story that happened to me, and I'm just wondering if this is being, explored. Built a new house, moved in 2020 July. Unbeknownst to me, the septic tank lines, they were not long enough. And so I was having issues shortly after the first year, and trust me, when you have septic tank issues, it's a major situation. And so the solution was to add more lines, and then it fixed the problem. So I'm kind of curious why can't we do that temporarily? I think it would be, I'm not saying, I don't know if it can be done, but why can't we add more lines?
For the septic field,
Yes.
we don't have the space. Because the existing septic field out there is saturated.
Okay.
If you go out there, you'll see, I think there's 6, isn't that right, or 6 or 8 places where they're pumping out the holding tanks. But it's because of the use, the bigger crowds going to that school, the ground's just saturated. And so when it rains, so if we didn't do this, you would have raw sewage out in that field.
Okay.
Or backing up into the school.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's something that we do have that we're working with the health department with, keeping them abreast of what the plan is and how we're moving forward with addressing the issue.
Okay. Anyone have anything else before we adjourn? Any more questions? All right, I need a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.